So now as we turn our attention and tune our stations to Israel Idol, I'd like to introduce you to the wonderful Yair Lando, former vice chair of Sony, now CEO of Bedouin Media and Mass Animation, who will introduce our stellar rock star panel.
Thank you. We're moving beyond the land of miracles and hopes and dreams, from the sublime to the ridiculous. I want to introduce you to, and we're trying to, in the spirit of the concurrent Laker game, really speed this up and make this exciting. So we have a format here called Israeli Demo Idol, and we'll start by introducing our judges, who are very illustrious, who represent a mix of Hollywood and technology of Israel and LA. Starting on our left is David Lahner, co-head of the motion picture group at William Morris, formerly. And about that and how it colors his perspective, he is, well, you'll determine which role he's playing on our esteemed panel. Orna Berry of Gemini Investments, and I believe conflicted by being an investor in a couple of these companies, but we'll waive that for the purposes of competition. And David Wertheimer, Executive Director of USC Entertainment Technology Council, former head of digital entertainment at Paramount. Now, okay, now, I expect active participation here. I want people interceding. The reason, obviously, our presenters here, and first of all, thank you all for volunteering to participate in this rather rough format. I'm sorry you weren't at an earlier panel where you could be more comfortable, but here you are. So starting with, we will go in order. We will start with Itzik from ClipSync, then we'll do Yossi from Ginny. Okay? All right. Then we will go on to Roy from Simbi, Zaki from Novafora, and we'll end with Guy from IDC Herzliya. Okay, so the judges will not hold back, and I hope that you in the audience do not hold back. The point of this is for these people to really understand and grow and learn about how to pitch to Hollywood, about how to bring their technology and actually really marry Israel and Hollywood effectively. And since the combination of Israel and Hollywood is actually a uniquely harsh combination, we wanted to subject people to reality here right away. So with that, we'll start. We haven't had a chance to work with any of our contestants, as you can see. I mean, we did bring them to Hollywood. We obviously have not had a chance to work on hair or makeup. You know, we wish we had, and actually that's frankly one of the things that they'll need to do in advance before they go on their studio tour.
Thank you. How do kind of tall, so. So in a nutshell, ClipSync is what WebEx was for meetings. WebEx try to take a real-world social situation that happens in real time, like meetings, simulating it with technologies online. And for meetings, WebEx was going to events, support, training, et cetera, et cetera. ClipSync is trying to take the same situation for consumption of media that happens in real time. Media is the most social thing you can do in real time, and try to allow people to enjoy media, consume media, at the same time in synchronicity. Doesn't matter what content or where you are. Basically what we do is create a platform. We're not a media company. We have no content. We created a platform that is aimed towards media companies, allowing them to repurpose their content and allow people to enjoy it as private parties, public rooms, to engage each other, to compete, to show their knowledge, and harness their passion towards interaction. We find that media okay. Yeah. Okay.
Can we go back? Can we reduce that slide to about 10 words? What does that slide say? Because I don't get it.
The slide is aimed towards what we do and who it's for.
Yeah, pictures. I don't get, people in Hollywood don't read, man. It's the motion picture. Motion picture.
I'm getting there. Okay, I have a lot of pictures for you.
All right, good.
Okay. Okay. You're not gonna make me under pressure. It's okay, man. Just listen, okay? So it's okay with me. So, anyways, come on, let me finish, man. I'm a little too tall for you. So, our partnerships include 3 different type of products. We have what we call co-viewing applications, which we signed with CBS, TV.com, MTV, Viacom, and MySpace. Live events, which we do for award shows, red carpet events, and live debates for political. And we're about to launch a lot of sporting and debates, kind of like a sports bar atmosphere for sport content. These are our partnerships. We actually just launched MySpace today, so we've been busy. That's how an example of the CBS application looks like. It's a Survivor. People are watching it, enjoying, chatting, competing, and showing their passion. Same thing for TV.com. Again, it looks similar, but it's the same application, different partners. Lots of pictures for you. And Epix is actually a new, since you're from Paramount, Epix is a new channel from Paramount, Lionsgate, and MGM. We are powering the whole Epix HD movie delivery system, including their private party, marathons, and just typical delivery for movies. And that's how Married on MySpace, which we launched today, looks like. Debates and discussions, we did some political debates early in the season. That's an example of one of the things we've done. Again, it gives you some kind of a representation of what we can do. We can do crowd visualization. We allow people to vote for the next questions. We allow people to connect with the actual broadcast. We don't have a sports application exactly to show right now. This was last year for SI Kids that we've done. Again, competitions and show of knowledge. I'll skip to that. It's a turnkey solution. We're a technology company. We're not a media company, so we're not interested in anything other than trying to simulate and create the interaction between people rather than create content ourselves. And again, I'll skip to that as well.
And were you wrapping up?
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
David?
So I'll take the beating.
So yeah, man, what's up? Man, that was, yeah, that was good, man. Now, I don't know. I'm feeling like there's something there, but I still don't get it. Like, we were halfway through your pitch before I even got a glimpse of what it was that you were doing. And I don't know, how many people in this audience really feel like they get it, like they could pitch that product? 1, okay, that's good. Oh, 3, 4. That's what I'm saying. Isabel is right there with me. So, like, right in the middle where the examples of what you're doing are the power. Like, all the stuff about partners was all cool, but no, I can tell you from my perspective, I heard these pitches every day. I don't care who you're in bed with. I want to know what you do. Then you tell me who's buying your stuff to give you credibility later on. But the words didn't do that for me at the beginning. And the partners then, on top of the words, didn't do it for me. But the concept is cool. I feel like there's something there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with yes.
Paula? Orna? Sorry.
Okay, I have to tell you that I'm for immediate satisfaction. My patience is non-existent, and consequently, I wish you. I wish you would have started with the pictures, because once I saw the pictures, I could figure out what you're doing. That the words were too cumbersome for me. Small head. User experience works on me fine. So, I did signs that I have to read for it, right? Reciprocity, we call it.
She did exactly that for me yesterday.
Anyhow, what I want to tell you is that bottom line, just to repeat it for everybody, user experience first, and very short and immediate understanding of the intuition would have worked better. Throw the words, throw the partners, keep that. The user experience and the social networking, I buy.
Yeah, I got lost in the words. To be honest, I was really trying to concentrate following it, and I felt over-explaining it so that by the time it comes to me, I really can't even tell you what it was about. So if the technology experts here say that there's something there, I'm sure there is, but it really got lost on me.
Thanks. All right.
Next up, I believe, is Yossi from Genie. Let's give a big Lux Sunset welcome to Yossi from Genie.
So I would like to share with you my personal problems. When my wife calls me on my way home, bring home a good movie, that's immediately when my blood pressure is actually starts to rocks. Because I'm facing two challenges. One, I'm not sure I know her taste in movies, although I'm married to her 24 years. But males don't really know how much about the woman they live with. And the second problem, which is maybe the biggest one, I'm not sure about her mood. I'm not sure how was her day. Is she into a silly movie? Is she into a smart movie, a feel-good movie? I'm into gory movies. Now, all those kind of thinking that go through my mind, and I always wonder, how do I solve my problem? How do I save my marriage? Because in New York Times, about a month ago, there was an interesting article, what happens when the red envelope from Netflix arrives home? Mostly, it starts a fight between the husband and wife. Why did you order this? It's not for me. This is for you. And so we want to save the world. We want to fix it once for all. And this is Genie all about. We want to help the people to find movies to match the taste and mood. And it goes far beyond genre. So try to imagine that you could somehow speak to the system the way you speak to the clerk at the Blockbuster. It could be one of the two things. You can say, you know what, I feel like a feel-good, smart romantic in New York, movie in New York, maybe with some unlikely couple. Or you could say, you know what, I really enjoy Harry Met Sally. Do you have something for me? But not in New York, in Seattle. So, now, this kind of discussion that you could go through with the clerk at the Blockbuster, we want to have the same experience with Genie. So you can speak to Genie, and that allows you to search like you think. Now, searching for movies in particular, it is relating to meaning, not to keywords. For example, if the title of the movie is Purple Cow, it doesn't mean much to you. But if this movie is funny, humorous, witty, upsetting, moving, or any other kind of feeling, that's what matters, if you are in the mood, if it's serious or not, if it's linear or not linear. So this is the challenge that we are facing. And what we do, we generate what we call the movie genome. On the left-hand side, you can see the genome of Little Miss Sunshine.
I don't even know what to say. It's too dense.
Too dense.
That or I'm too dense, but I like it so far. I like the storytelling. You're telling me a story. I'm really happy, Yossi. So far, I like this story. You and your wife, I get it. It's cool.
Now I feel like a human being because I'm not perfect and I can live with this.
Okay, so go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt,
Try
really.
to upset me, that's okay. On the left-hand side, and I apologize if the letters are too small, but this is a good reason to come to Genie.com if you are really intrigued by the story. We are able to analyze the synopsis and reviews and to understand what are the characteristics of the movie. For example, this movie is about dysfunctional family. This movie is about Race Against Time. Now, this is again the same Race Against Time of Die Hard, but the context of Race Against Time in Die Hard is different than the context in Little Miss Sunshine. And this kind of meaning, the attributes or genes, if you will, or semantic tags, I will use all the synonyms possible so we are all on the same page. We generate all that automatically out of synopsis and reviews. Believe it or not, now we're coming from Israel, this technology again comes from military applications. Because believe it or not, again, when the FBI or Mossad or who knows, reading our email messages, somehow they need to understand what we are trying to convey. In the same fashion, we use it in a good way, not in a negative way. Pandora for movie. Actually, in YouTube, if you go and type Pandora for movies, you find a clip about Genie.
What about Genius? What's the difference between this and the Genius system on a...
Genius,
iTunes.
that's for music.
Okay, so could you say that this is Genius for movies?
Indeed. And when people start to use your brand as a verb, that's where you start to feel good. And especially when people start to send us, or you see a tweet, I'm getting addicted, we really like it. At the end of the day, we are kind of like pushers. We are in the business of creating addiction. We want to help Hollywood to people to consume more movies. Maybe it's not too educational, this idea, but we have some commercial objectives as well. Thank you very much.
Using military technology to help me understand my wife. Good application. David?
So, yeah, well, Yossi. I told Yossi along the way what I thought, but I mean, look, I like the idea. I'm a big believer in Pandora. I like it. Movies is actually easier to do because there are fewer of them, and it's a very manual process. I like the general concept. For me, I couldn't decide whether Yossi was giving an investor's pitch or a pitch to Hollywood, which is what I thought we were doing, because all the semantic lookup and all that kind of stuff just glazes people over in Hollywood, and they're asleep under the table with talk like that. Now, Orna and I like that kind of stuff, because we're computer science people, and like that we can get into that. But David here, I think I saw him nodding off in the middle. But anyway, so that's my take.
Well, I think you're a very good storyteller. Where is he?
There he is.
I think you're a very human storyteller, and that's very good. I just don't know how this speaks to movie lovers more than if you're on Amazon and you buy a DVD and it says those who bought, this also bought that. I think you should think about being a director, maybe, though, because you tell a very good story. You tell a very human story, and you tell it with a lot of humor.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. So I would say your story at the beginning was great, maybe for the venue a little too long, but it was a great story. I liked it, but it would have been better if you brought the whole thing around full circle to the story and explained like what the so what, because I got all the cool technology, but I didn't get the so what. Like it didn't just. I can make the leap in my mind, but I would have brought it full circle to your story.
I gotta be honest. I wasn't nodding off. I was actually starting to get a headache because I could not read anything on there too. So the presentation was just, you can say it's way too small. It was really small, and I, after a while, just tuned out.
So, Orna, satisfaction?
First of all, I have to say that the fund that I'm affiliated with, and I'm not an investor, I'm sort of an entrepreneur in residence, The fund that I'm working with has not invested in Genie. I and a group of private investors have invested in Genie. There is a lot more work to do in order to commercialize it, because the issues are related not only to selection but also to delivery of content. But from the perspective of selection, I admit that the Twitter and some of the information here were too verbose for the purpose of sensing the user experience. But the user experience is really unique in the fact that it's really personable, it's really language, natural language and free language, and you get very good feedback from the system, and you get personalized the system for you. So from the perspective of the usage, I would have liked better probably a clip about Genie rather than the slides about Genie, because then you get the user experience and you feel much better about it. So next time, Yossi, a clip.
Yeah.
A clip and a picture of your wife. Happy
Yeah.
couple at the end to
picture.
wrap it all up. And now we're on to Roy Barab.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roy Barav, and I'm the CEO of Simbi. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts with you this evening. Through Simbi, I got deeply involved in the television industry. And as everyone in this town knows, the industry is under serious attack. Revenues are going down. Advertisers are very concerned with the continued penetration of DVRs and the fact that more and more people are skipping the traditional 30-second commercials. The whole advertiser-based business model is weakened by the growing number of options viewers have to watch content, and specifically the internet. The effect is of a reduced advertiser spending is felt at all levels of the industry. In the last few years, and specifically in the last 6 months, thousands of jobs were eliminated. Today, I'm here to share with you how Simbi is working with the studios, with the distributors, and the content owners, and the stations across the country to create a new revenue stream by doing dynamic product placement. This additional inventory can add as much as 25% increase to the existing revenues of everyone involved in the entertainment industry. And I would like us to watch a short presentation about Simbi.
Simbi presents a breakthrough DVR-proof technology to increase the exposure of national and local TV advertising without interfering with the viewing experience. By utilizing a digital technology, advertisers can now realize the benefits of embedding their brand's inside show content after the individual episodes have already been shot. Advertisers can access these opportunities at any time throughout the broadcast year with day and date accuracy to coincide with their regular advertising schedules. The photorealistic techniques ensure the production values are maintained and the insertions have an organic quality. Our patented turnkey technology allows you to submit artwork as a digital file. Then the software creates your new version automatically, which allows you to place your brands or realistic versions of your products in scenes like these. Beginning this fall, with Simbi's commitment and our entertainment partners' creativity, we'll be delivering some serious new revenues for a host of television programs.
That's my email, if someone needs it. Thank you. So our patented process is based on an automatic system that allows for national and local versions of the same episode to be created for different markets, creating additional value for advertisers and incremental revenues for the entertainment industry. The opportunities that are created are maintained for the whole life cycle of the content, so advertisers can access them time and again, creating this value for years to come. The quality of the insertions is true high definition, and the fact that we can do it in economical prices is unprecedented, and I would say a big step in helping the industry create this new revenue stream. Right now, we are seeing a lot of excitement, and I would like to share with you a short story. We recently went to a meeting together with one of our studio clients and met with a well-known executive producer who has a particularly dry sense of humor. The purpose of the meeting was to show him how does product placement look in his content and what are the benefits. The executive producer was pretty quiet for most of the meeting, and at the end he embraced the Simbi technology, he gave us his blessing, and he ironically concluded that he is now convinced that this technology is going to single-handedly save the economy. Well, I can't promise that we are going to save the economy this year, but I can tell you that using the technology that was developed in Israel, we are going to build Simbi as an industry leader in brand integration and help the content industry recover from the crisis that it is in. And we believe that this industry is going to prosper again. Right now, Simbi is building hundreds of opportunities that are going to be available this fall.
Dude, what was the guy's name?
I-
This is Hollywood. You got a name drop.
Yeah.
You mentioned
name
an
was
executive
Yair
producer
Landau.
without mentioning his name. Dude,
Yes,
it's all about that.
That's true. That's true. But right now, since the deal, that's since I cannot disclose it right now. But
How about the show?
I think you may know the
How
show.
about the network?
It depends on the opportunities, but it requires some human work that may be quite intensive. The process has a creative element of working with the executive producer and making sure that the generic opportunity that we are choosing is going to fit what is expecting. And then once we are done with the creative part, so for example, we have decided to build here a billboard, then we have a sales system that allows the salespeople in the different markets to actually sell the advertising, and the system automatically will put the brand in, and then we have a factory that is delivering everything to the right channel. And
So you know, Isabel's getting at something. I mean, I got the elevator pitch. It's cool. I like it. Save the economy. Cool. Got it. I'm all for that. So I got the elevator pitch. On this one, I go in the opposite direction. I don't really get how you do it. And you know what you just described to me sounds like a lot of guys sitting in the back room rotoscoping out the top of that taxi cab, and then inserting an ad and skewing it and all that kind of stuff. And that sounds like a lot of time. And I got to tell you, when I was at Paramount, we were putting shows on television, and we were putting them on the satellite like 60 seconds before they were supposed to air on the national network. So I don't have time to ship them to Israel and wait for however long for them to come back. So how are you dealing with that turnaround time? Because Isabel asked a good question.
well, so that's a good question. And the concept in Simbi is that we are investing in each opportunity a little bit of time. It's not days, but sometimes it's more than hours. And once this opportunity exists, from that moment on, this is an automatic system that is dealing with the process from that moment throughout the life cycle of the content. So it means that now a salesperson can upload an ad, and the system is going to automatically take that ad and put it in the generic space, and it will look completely photorealistic with all the characteristics of the scene. So, and the turnaround time of that is seconds for previews, and it's a bit longer for broadcast quality, but when we are dealing with broadcast, then we also have to deal with the distribution, which is quite complicated, and we've been able to solve this problem in the last few months, and I think in the next few weeks you'll hear about it from one of the large studios here. Who shall not be named. Can you repeat the question, please?
I'm saying you only make money when you syndicate the show, not when you just roll it out. Then you have months and weeks to waste advertising and really make money.
That's a good point.
Israel and that make money every time you show.
Yeah, and let's forget about sending stuff to Israel, which is actually takes shorter than you would imagine, but but definitely since it takes some time, syndication is a very good place that this technology fits. But also we are talking about cable and international distribution, and we are in serious discussions for a network, and I would say that the added value of Simbi is in the localization. So when you look at network broadcasting, the advertising is being divided into national advertising and local advertising. And Simbi is going to allow for product placement also on the network to be localized. And I think this is the major thing that I'm trying to...
Does it not seem weird to have an ad for the Jerusalem grocery store on the top of a New York taxi?
Well, I see. When I look
Does that not seem weird to you?
first, no, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. When I go on Yahoo, I see 100 Lowe's, and which is a big campaign of the Israeli Foreign Ministry. But the point that to your point, this is definitely a concern, and we are working on that in two levels. One level is that there are some guidelines that the executive producer is telling us for each ad space. So for example, he can exclude stuff that is from foreign countries. Okay, this can be one kind of restriction. Then after, on top of that restriction, when a product is being defined, the system will not let a salesperson upload an art that belongs to that advertiser. But let's say that a salesperson would like to make a sale, and now they are defining a vodka brand as a water brand. Okay, still there is a special user in the system that can see any advertisement that was sold and can reject it in case it was abused.
So, how would your former William Morris clients feel about this kind of technology?
I think it's a great presentation. I am curious to know who the executive producer is, because my first instinct was, I think it's a very smart business idea, but my clients are going to hate it. So if you have somebody of real artistic credibility who's saying to you, we can make this work, and these producers who are creators who have to realize that the old system is not working anymore, I think there's really something there, and I think you make a very good presentation. I was very impressed.
Thank you. I'll just say that we are...
Are you going to give us his name now?
Because
if you're not, we're moving on.
Take yes for an answer.
Unless you give me
If you're not giving us a name, we're moving on.
No, it's just...
Last comment. Orna, how do you feel about this technology?
Okay, I think technology is cool, and I think that if you have a market for it, then it's perfect. And I can, about the New York taxi, replace the taxi. Like to replace the ad.
Or we can replace New York.
In general, you soon enough you'll contour the objects and you'll replace them, and I'm sure about that. It looks like you're on the right track. Mix a little bit of virtual reality with reality, and that is perfect. But you cool technology, and I'm pleased.
Yeah. I also think that if you, especially if you're pitching into the networks or the studios, that if you use some of your advertising space to advertise their shows or advertise their films, to show how you can sort of change that up, and when it gets into syndication. And anyway, I think you should be thinking about who you're selling to, and the way that they'll be able to sell their products.
Yeah, and when you're selling to those networks, be careful about how much you say about how much control you're going to give to the executive producer of the show. Just a tip for you. But with that, I agree. I think you did a really nice job with it. I think it's cool.
And now Zaki from Nova 4.
One of the contestants must have given me something. I'm going to try. Something is wrong with my stuff. For the next 5 minutes, I'm going to shamelessly promote myself and the company I'm currently the CEO. My name is Zaki Rakib. I am a videoholic. Before I became a videoholic, in 1994, I founded a company called Terion, which we took public in 1998. We brought its revenue from $2 million in 1996 to $380 million in 2000. Market cap from 0 to $7 billion. That is why I was able to retire in 2004 and found myself watching a lot of TV on the west coast of Israel. So the west coast of Israel is Herzliya Pituach, this little town. And, but I truly missed the west coast of California. So along with my brother, who was also the co-founder of Terion, we decided that we can't stay still, and we're going to do something similar to what we did back then at Terion. And what we truly did back then was to enable the internet to conquer data and voice over the cable infrastructure. We were the pioneers in building cable modems, which at least half of you must be using. And for high-speed data and voice as well. Terion made 7 or 8 acquisitions, 7 more than it should have, but at least one of them paid very well in the sense that it enabled me to understand what does it take to bring video to people. We were the pioneers in the business of video multiplexing, and for that reason, actually, Motorola ended up buying Terion in 2007, 3 years after I left Terion and retired. So I'm back, and in 2006, we raised money, some of which is mine, some of which are from venture capital. Back then, in 2006, money did flow into something that sounds today like a curse called semiconductor for those venture capitalists who stayed or here in the room. I don't know if anyone is still here, but what we wanted to do with Mike, or this one is, what we want to do with Nova Fora is to allow the internet, help the internet conquer video just like it did for data and voice. When distributed, you are dealing with the distribution bottlenecks, meaning you want to take the video from its source to its destination, the video promise anywhere, anytime, from any source to any destination, and on any device. And in average, there are now 9 devices in every home in the United States. The bottlenecks have to do with the ability to process this video. The video starts with one format, needs to end up with a different format on the screen, different quality, different bit rate. The video needs to adjust itself to whatever network. Just to give you an idea, ABC Disney stores every video that is set for basically distribution in 18 different formats. 18 different formats. So the ability to solve this distribution bottleneck is going to be critical to make the internet, and make no mistakes, the internet will conquer video just like it did with data and voice. And in order for it to conquer video, you need to really resolve those bottleneck problems and the ability to translate on the fly the various format and adjust the quality and the rates of the video to arrive to its destination with the appropriate quality and with the appropriate rate. So, introduction of Video 3.0, you need to do the following. One, and you need to dynamically transcode. Think about it like in the data word, you need to be able to route the video. You need to be able to translate the different protocols. So you need to transcode on the fly, in real time. Take MPEG-2, H.264, and how to connect each point to the other by translating on the fly. You need to be able to enjoy Video 3.0 not only by being able to watch it at the highest quality, but be able to interact with it. In order to interact with it, you need to start navigating the video based on object and not only based on what you view. And that reminds the people who have been in the data business what's called packet inspection. So peeping into the video, understanding what's inside the video to be able to navigate the video based on objects. This is an example of Titanic. You store Titanic on your DVR. You want to be able to watch a particular actor on whatever scene he or she appears. And the ability to click on the objects on the video and be able to get information, whether it is advertisement or what people may call metadata that is associated with this particular object. So what does Nova 4 offer? Two things. One, on the hardware side, what we call the VPU, the video processor unit. The VPU is a processor, it's a semiconductor, excuse me. It's a parallel multi-core, massive parallel processor that knows how to do all this transcoding on the fly in real time at about 100 times better performance and 100 times lower power consumption than competing products. And it would fit into all the way up from the servers and that are processing the video on the studio side, all the way down to your TV set or your PC or your small routers at home. Oh, it's a chip. It's a scalable. Yes, the VPU. We're building this chip. Yes, yes. Yes, we are. We're a semiconductor company. And the other piece, the software piece, in which we have actually started discussing this project called the Video Genome Project. One of our investors, in talking about dropping names, is Turner Broadcast, Mr. Phil Kent, the current CEO or president of Turner Broadcast. What we're trying is to create a DNA print of every single object and every single video in the world, so that we create a central repository of this sequence, one particular signature, that then would be able to be retrieved. It will be stored somewhere and then it will be retrieved. So when you click on an object on a video, you'll be able to retrieve the information associated with it. So we separate completely this information, the metadata, from the video itself. So the video distribution remains the same, yet you can retrieve the information that resides somewhere else and can be staying current. Example, if you click on, even if you have a DVD that you bought 5 years ago, you'll be able to click on objects in this DVD and retrieve current information associated with whatever objects exist there. Thank you.
So, wow. That was interesting. Can you go back a few slides? So at the end of the presentation, I still don't know what Nova 4 does or what it does for me. It sounds cool, and you definitely have the resume to back it up. But I don't. I thought in all those slides I would have understood what it's going to do for me, change, my world, whatever world that is. Can you go forward? It's really funny when you got to this slide. I was right there. I was going to tell everybody here. Now that's a slide, man. I was like, I've been asking for that slide the whole time, and then he clicked and it got really cloudy there. But I thought, this is a great slide because I can wrap my head around that when he walks me through it. And I thought this slide was going to lead me into, okay, I get what it's going to do for me. But I
was
didn't
waiting
get there
for
at the end.
Novafora on this slide. I never saw the connection between this slide and Novafora.
So let me attempt to answer this. In every part of the video cycle, you're processing video, and the key is at every station you need some hardware to process this video, and this is what we're bringing. So whether you use your PC as an example, for example, if you are on the consuming side and you're going to try to download a movie on your iPod, it takes about 2 hours for a full-length movie, and we're going to try to do it in 1 minute.
So that's storytelling right there, my man. That is what I was looking for. So get that, more big bubbles, less words, less, VLSI kind of stuff, and I'm going to be happy. All right, Simon?
The preamble, you gotta cut that out, and you gotta get right to what this does. If you're not a techie, if you're talking to people in Hollywood and they just want to know how it makes their life easier, as David said, you gotta cut right to it and show how user friendly it makes it. All the technology just went over my head, and I started getting lost about 5 minutes in.
Now, Orna, you said yourself you don't have much patience. So where were you on that?
No, I'm with you because I think, I know the company. It's a company that I know and I cherish. And I agree that the presentation should have been much more about what it does to the video. And it's already said, so I won't repeat it, but the last item about the speed of things and the other item about object identification, which also relates to the previous technology that you're cutting advertisement in order to paste other advertisement. You don't need to do that. You can actually take objects and replace them. So I think it does marvels to the consumer electronic product that it is put in.
So, yeah, just to wrap that up. I mean, this town is all about storytelling, but it's not just this town. I mean, from my perspective, everything, giving a PowerPoint presentation is about telling a story, and this story could be really cool if it was less about here's building up the technology and more about, well, here's the world's problem, here's her problem, and here's how I'm going to solve it, and then with a pretty bow around, and then let people dig into the technology in the Q&A. I think that's the way to go. But I think there's definitely a diamond in there. The storytelling piece. I mean, I tell people all the time, no matter who you're talking to, with PowerPoint, you're telling a story. It needs to have a beginning, middle, and end. And more slides like this and less slides with lots of words on it. But anyway, very cool. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Does the world need this technology?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So absent this, the art of storytelling, is it going in the right direction?
Well, the world needs the technology. It's just that Hollywood doesn't buy chips. So you're not selling chips to a studio. It's a very powerful technology. If you can show us how it's relevant to your wife and kids, you're a smart guy and you're a rich guy, and you opened by telling us that, which Hollywood definitely respects that. Okay? So just cut the preamble that people get. You're smart, you're rich, and hey, you got something really cool and new. But Hollywood doesn't buy chips. So the question is, who's the intermediary you're selling to?
All right. Thanks.
All right, last but not least, Guy, Georgia Tech, IDC.
Nope.
X.
X. He's one of those X guys,
I'm
like
one
he
of those-
did.
I'm the famous X. So first of all, nobody's going to defend our hair here in the whole panel. Oh, that's this little comment at the beginning. Seriously, I'm kind of the odd one out, and I could start out. Can we see that video that I'm?
Do that. You have the best hair on the panel.
I actually think we all got-
I will give you that, and the best earring on the panel too.
So coming from the future, which I am, I would tell you probably that the future of storytelling is not like this anymore. It's going to be robotic actors like the one you see here interacting with other actors, and it's going to be people being out there, and it's going to be stories like stories that engage you with your world and not just engage you with the screen. But I'm going to do the anti-Hollywood thing here and go stop seducing you with robots. So we can stop this. Can you stop the video, please? Yes, and instead the anti-Hollywood go for something more idealistic. And I want to tell you about the Media Innovation Lab that we're starting at IDC Herzliya, at the Interdisciplinary Center, University in Herzliya. And when I say that storytelling is not going to be just, I'm going to just go a cappella here now, no more PowerPoints. So when I tell you that storytelling is not going to be just this anymore, think, for example, if a story would just take you somewhere. So let's say a story starts in let's say Los Feliz, and there's a chapter of that story in Los Feliz, and your cell phone knows that you're there and says, your favorite author, Edgar Keret, wrote a story there, and you listen to his voice telling you, and then it tells you, well, the next chapter is actually in Hollywood, so you have to go to Hollywood, get in your car, get in the bus, or whatever, however you get there, and hear the next part of the story there, and then the last part of the story actually ends at Amoeba Records, which is the sponsor of this whole storytelling experience, and the whole story was about old records, and suddenly you're at Amoeba Records, and suddenly you can see how the promotional side gets into all of that. So I think there's a whole new way of thinking about storytelling, there's a whole new way of thinking about media, and I think that's what we're trying to. This is a project that's an example project that came out of the Media Innovation Lab that we started in October, founded by Oren Zuckerman, who is like me, did his PhD at the MIT Media Lab. Does anybody know the MIT Media Lab around here? How many people have heard of the MIT Media Lab? So it's a sort of a lab that tries to think about the future like 10, 20 years from now. And it's sort of like over the last 25 years, it has been a hotbed of new technologies. If you have ever used the recommendation system on Amazon, like other people, if you buy this, you might want to buy this. This was a Media Lab project that spun off. If you ever played Guitar Hero, that was a Media Lab project that spun off from there. If you ever saw e-ink, like on those on the Motorola phones or the Kindle, so it's a place where people kind of dream about the future and create it. And what Oren and 4 other Media Lab graduates, including myself, decided to start in October of last year is to try to bring this to the higher education system in Israel, to try to make a place in Israel that I think doesn't exist right now, where people can think about the future of media, people can think about the future of communication, and people can invent sort of the next experiences that go beyond the next 2 or 3 years, but and go further. And so how do you do that? Erel Margalit said something. Is he still around, Erel? He's drinking. We're all going to be drinking soon. So he said, the creative process is really hard to untangle, and I think that's true. Anybody who has worked with creative people, has worked in a creative field, that's not something you can't just teach innovation. You can't just do this. And so we're trying to develop a process actually in the Media Innovation Lab in Herzliya. We're bringing together students from communication, from the communications department and from the CS department, computer science. Hopefully, we also will bring psychology students together. And we started to develop a process that includes research, prototyping, and connections with the industry that creates this idea of how do you create this new idea, this new innovative process. And I think the last thing I kind of want to emphasize here is the relationship with industry, which is also a very unique feature of this kind of academic environment. Most of academic departments are sort of separate from the industry, but we are actually really valuing the connection with industry. We have people from VCs, we have CEOs and CTOs of companies come and mentor our students We have them come and critique their work on every few weeks, and they have to kind of learn how to give a pitch for like 5 minutes of their, mobile recommendation system that they invented for teenage girls that want to go shopping, and they have like some sort of like location-based recommendation system that some group did, or another group that worked on helping people experience blindness and sort of tying it in with that whole book and movie and all this idea. And then we have people coming in from the industry, from one of the major Israeli networks, Reshet, for example, and from one of the major Israeli cell phone companies that's not going to be named. And they come in and they actually, I have to say that one of the most amazing experiences for me as a teacher there was that, these people come in from the top of the Israeli entertainment industry and the cellular, the content side of the cellular industry, and they're basically, they were like their jaws dropped of like what these students who just started studying a year or two ago can bring to their companies. So I hope that we're going to develop a place that will have its impact for many, many years to come, and to create a place where Israel can sort of be on the forefront of innovation in media, in entertainment, and hopefully you will all come and talk to me about the Media Innovation Lab and also about robots and why robots will be in every movie in 20 years. Thank you.
Guy.
What do you say about Guy bringing the Media Lab to Israel? What's not to like? I like it.
I like it too.
I'm definitely in favor.
It's always good when you're not selling anything,
Yeah, it's easy. You got off easy.
I got off easy.
You should try selling the robot.
Oh, I can do that. We all use our bodies every day, and so should computers,
Something to think about over cocktails.
I love the idea.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Guy.
So I will sell something. I think anybody is interested in sponsoring students, that would be a great thing to talk to me about.
I was actually about to ask how you finance.
So we just started this is actually a very new process. We just started thinking about developing the right kind of relationship, because you don't want industry to drive the research and to drive the students' ideas. You want them to support them with advice and with funding so that they can actually create their own ideas and bring something new. Because I think it's even I, who is 25 years old, find the 20-year-old to be a totally different generation, and I think we're still developing the sponsorship relationship.
Hopefully you'll be able to get some small pilots that can drive some revenue for you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're having a big open house on Thursday. Anybody who's in Israel and wants to talk to me about maybe coming to see the open house on coming Thursday, the first students are going to present their projects. The first class actually just finishes this week. So everybody's very proud.
Good. Can I just ask in closing that Yair sing a little song for us?
I'm not going to subject these lovely people to that. I want to thank everybody who presented. You guys were great. You were great participants. Thank you all for subjecting yourselves to this.
Yeah.
Itzik, Yossi, Roy, Zaki, Guy, thank you. They'll be at the bar. Please approach them. Please invest in their companies. Help introduce them to people. David, Orna, thank you very much.
Thank you,
The
Yair.
bar is open. Thank you all for participating.